I have my dragon here with a nice long tail on the tummy panel, and if you take a look, you can see that one of the panels is concave and one is convex, and you want to make sure that you get it started going the right way, because the dragon's tail bends inward, which is going to make that curve, that short small curve, and you're going to want your long curve on the outside. You can also see it with the stitch markers that you put at the end of each row. Believe it or not, this is the same row starting and ending right here, but because we did some wrap and turns, this side is longer, so we just want to make sure that long side is the one that's here rather than the short. So once you have ascertained which way is right side up or inside out, you can go ahead and get started on stitching this together. Now when we stitch these together, I'll show you over here. The stitches that we're going to work with for binding these together are going to be, we'll use these two for one binding stitch, and then we'll use these two for a binding stitch, and then we'll use these two for another binding stitch. On the dragon itself, once we get past this tricky beginning part, we'll be using, that's a stitch. Here, let me show you over here. That would be a stitch where 2 rungs, and then 2 more rungs, and 2 more rungs. Now the reason I had you put these stitch markers in is so that when we're going along, when we get to one of those points, you want to make sure that, let's say your blue stitch marker is attaching to here, we want to make sure the orange one you're also attaching at the same point at the same time, so that those match up on the horizontal bar. If it isn't, you can just do a stitch here and a stitch there to make it come out even, but it's a big help. So for here, we're going to start just a simple binding on, and we're going to grab, let's take these two. I'll admit it's a bit nebulous in the beginning because I never know if I'm doing it right or not. And yep, I did it wrong. Let's try that again. I started in the wrong spot, and I knew that because your stitches are supposed to be at the top of a V, and I took one across the wide part of the V. See, there's the V. I went across the wide part, and I should have gone across the narrow. So we'll try that again. Okay, now I'm going to go pick up that last stitch I worked with again and grab a new one. Now the reason I'm working with picking up the top parts of these V's is because we're going up. We're working with, decreases across this edge. As soon as I get out of that decrease area, I'll be able to just use the, go up through the ladder rungs. And I think I'm at that point now. Not yet. One more. And again, I'm not tightening these off too hard yet, just because I might have to take them out. And I think, yeah, I can start working with the ladder rungs now. So I pick up again the old stitch I've already worked with, and I'm sorry again, it is tricky with the first couple because it's not as clear. Okay, and I always like picking up, once I get into the regular ribs, I like picking up the top. See, there's the bottom. I like picking up the top one. Okay, now here I'm at my first stitch marker. Let me grab my 2 rungs. Now I'm going to stop and let's leave that on there. And I'm going to take another piece of thread and I am going to start stitching at the bottom here again, and I'm just gonna grab a couple of stitches here that no one's gonna see to fasten this off. Because I want these horizontal bars to be even all the way across, I have to knit up both at the same time. So I'm going to grab another top of a V and start stitching up my other side. Now if I do this right, and I usually have to take a couple tries at it, I will end up at this mark at the bottom of that row. And here I can just immediately start going and using the ladder rungs as my pattern. So I'm going to catch that bottom one again, catch the new stitch, catch the bottom and the top. I think I'm going to be real close here. Okay, now I am at the same point I was with the other one. And okay, this one is hooking up to this row, and this one is not, so this is a little bit off. So to fix it, I think I'm going to, instead of going under 2 ladder rungs, I'm going to go under 1. And I'm also going to go under 1 again. And now I believe I'm in the right spot. So I am in the same stitch as the stitch marker. Follow that across. I'm in this, and my thread's coming out above the stitch marker here and above the stitch marker here. At this point, once you get one of these equal, they should, just march up together, but I have a couple more in place just to double check my work.